Lukaku is ready to leave Chelsea Football Club this summer. We know he's already blamed Thomas Tuchel for his failings this year after Lukaku's men felt. Lukaku himself and his team around him felt they would be successful returning to Stamford Bridge. He wants to join Inter Milan. He wants to leave Stamford Bridge. But what will happen with Chelsea, of course, being slightly up in the air due to the new ownership situation, and of course the season really petering out in a way in which they didn't expect. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this. Chelsea fans, is it good that he wants out? Could this cause further problems down the line? How do Chelsea solve their goal scoring issues up front? Make sure you're smashing that like button. You're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Let's do it. Lots going on at Chelsea at the moment. And of course, a disappointing end to this season, really. Yes, they have the FA Cup final to look forward to. Yes, there is still optimism under Thomas Tuchel, a winner, of course, Champions League winners just 12 months ago. But the season really petered out in a way in which they didn't expect. At the centre of that has been Romelu Lukaku. Now, we only have to go back a few months, and we all remember that infamous interview he gave where he essentially, and I'm boiling this down and I'm paraphrasing here, but he blamed Thomas Tuchel, the system and the style of football that Tuchel decided to play with. That was the reason for his failings. That was the reasons that he wasn't able to deliver. He said that Thomas Tuchel promised him that the team would play a particular way, so style A, but they've gone with style B, something that Lukaku isn't happy with, and of course isn't getting the very best out of him. And I said at the time, this was somebody looking to either engineer a move away or create a power play so they had more control at the club than the said manager. It looked as though Roman Abramovich was going to back Thomas Tuchel, and it appears the new ownership are going to do very much the same, because Fabrizio Romano has now confirmed what the brilliant Dean Jones told us just 2 weeks ago. He wants an Inter Milan move. He wants to go back to Serie A. There is the possibilities of a PSG move in there as well, but Inter Milan is the place for him. We'll move on to a little bit later what else Fabrizio Romano had to say, but Matt Law also confirmed to us that Lukaku is concerned about his future at Chelsea and is expected to hold talks with the club in the summer. Sources close to the club rate Lukaku's situation as a nightmare for the incoming owners. And that for me is standout. That for me is huge. That for me is absolutely massive. And it's something that Chelsea fans need to focus on. It is something that Chelsea fans need to take very, very seriously indeed. A nightmare for the incoming owners. And of course it is, because this is going to be a big money investment that's going to lose them cash. They are losing 30, 40, 50 million pounds this summer if they sell him. They then have to go out and replace him. And teams are going to try and strike these new owners up. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Of course, Lukaku is earmarked as being this individual that was going to solve the goal-scoring issue. That lack of goals is why Chelsea's season has petered out. Yes, there have been a few poor results in the run-in that you wouldn't necessarily put down to not scoring goals. Being knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid wasn't an issue of not scoring goals. It was more to do with, inexplicably, in the Tuchel system, suddenly they weren't able to be as tight and as hard to break down as we've become accustomed to seeing them do over the course of the last 12 months. But the Lukaku situation raises major problems in many areas. It's spending money, it's getting an adequate replacement, it's getting somebody in that scores those goals, and of course, it's taking up valuable transfer time. This is going to be a very busy window with Manchester United and Arsenal, both, according to their owners board in the news, set to spend big and sign a number of players. if Antonio Conte is to stay at Tottenham, or even if the inexplicable happened and Maurizio Pochettino was to return, they're going to buy a fair number of players. Plus Newcastle in this transfer market, amongst others. You're never going to sort of write the likes of City off and Liverpool from buying players as well. There's going to be a hell of a lot of activity going on this year, and Chelsea need to have start the summer with their front foot forward. Interestingly, there's been some rumours that Lukaku was looking at a potential move to AC Milan. Now, that has been debunked today by Fabrizio Romano, who says the Chelsea player does not want to join the league leaders in the summer. Of course, they're currently top of Serie A, but he would love to return to the Italian league and play for Inter Milan. And as we said, Dean Jones has been talking about this for a fair while now. Dean Jones has told us all, prior to Fabrizio and Matt Law, that Lukaku is looking for that move away into Milan, with the potential of Paris Saint-Germain being an option. Now, of course, what throws a real big curveball into this is, should Antonio Conte get the Paris Saint-Germain job, maybe that changes Lukaku's mind all over again. Maybe Lukaku looks at this situation a little differently. I, for one, am very intrigued to see where he's going to go and how they're going to handle this situation. And, of course, who's going to come in to replace him? That's going to be massively key. Now, remember, Lukaku's an interesting signing because Dean Jones has been told by the camp and people close to Lukaku that he was determined to make his move to Chelsea work out. He says that I know people around him genuinely believe that he would be a massive success. He started well at Chelsea, which he did, and for whatever reason, that has fallen away. And this is where the second element of the nightmare comes in, is Lukaku and his camp have already made it very clear that they feel that Thomas Tuchel is the reason that his season has fallen away. And I think for me, what stands out massively is the fact that that'll all come up again if he is to go. And if Lukaku, this is the one thing Chelsea fans have got to guard against, because this is the nature of the beast. If Lukaku leaves and starts scoring elsewhere and Chelsea don't improve that goal scoring element, it will still, Lukaku is still planting that seed to get back at Tuchel. I believe he does blame Tuchel. I do believe that Lukaku is so self-absorbed. He is so insular in his thought process that he will believe this is down to Thomas Tuchel's style of play, coaching, man management, and not himself, not his own application or his inability to evolve and adapt to something different. Now, of course, replacing Lukaku is going to be important because it has now been confirmed. We knew this was kind of happening, but Antonio Rudiger is going to join Real Madrid as of now, confirmed by Romano and a number of other top-class journalists. Now, where does this leave Chelsea, you're going to ask? Lukaku could be going, Rudiger could be going, Thiago Silva's getting on a bit, Aspie could be on his way out, Christensen's going. It's going to be a big summer for Chelsea in terms of numbers coming in. It just simply has to be, which is why the Lukaku situation poses that issue, because it could be a hell of a lot of time and attention taken away from other important areas. Now, what is very, very interesting is that I spoke to a few journalists today, over the last couple of days, actually, about this situation. And Jules Kounde is still Chelsea's top defensive target this summer. The deal was agreed in the summer of 2022, only for Sevilla to change the terms late on. The deal very, very early stated and confirmed that as soon as, at the time, Kurt Zouma moved on, and whether that was involved in the deal with Sevilla or sold separately to West Ham, when that deal was concluded, Chelsea already had an unofficial bid via the intermediary, so a kind of inquiry offer put on the table that would then be turned into an official offer and accepted. Chelsea kind of parked the bus on this. They kept talking to the player throughout the whole summer. Go back, check the articles, whether it be from the Telegraph, the Athletic, Fabrizio. Jules Kounde still wanted to join. He never changed his mind at any singular point. And then at the 11th hour, inexplicably to Chelsea, Sevilla tried to up the price. They whacked on 20 to 25 million pounds in and around deadline day. Chelsea stood strong and said, absolutely not. We're not going to be dragged over the coals. And Chelsea did the absolute right thing. Setting that precedent in the transfer market is key. If you start paying over the odds and get dragged over the coals last minute looking desperate, more and more teams are going to do this to you. Jules Kounde himself has remained adamant that he wants to join the West Londoners. And on top of that, Chelsea are still confident they're the front runners for this player, irrespective of Roman leaving, which I think is key. And signing quality like Jules Kounde is going to be massive for Chelsea this summer. Of course, as we know, and I already mentioned, a fair number of players leaving, a fair number of holes in the squad on the roster for the Tuchel and whoever is running it, whether it's Marina, whether it's somebody new that comes in to replace those players and make themselves competitive, because the Chelsea fans aren't going to accept it, and rivals are definitely going to come for you if next season there's further regression, if you're not challenging again. Because Chelsea are likely to spend over 150 to 200 million pounds again this summer on players, which is a huge investment. And there will be big expectations for them to deliver. Now, look, I want your thoughts and feelings on Lukaku blaming Thomas Tuchel, looking for this move away. The noise is still going on. Chelsea fans, are you frustrated? Are you annoyed? Are you over it now? Like, where's your head at when it comes to Lukaku? And of course, on the replacements for these defenders leaving, Jules Kounde still appears to be the number one target. But what do you think? Before you leave today, make sure you've smashed the like button. Make sure you have subscribed to the Football Terrace. It's very important to us that you do that. Up later on today, we've got Straight Facts with myself, Lee Gunner, coming out. And of course, match reactions to the Champions League semi-final first leg as well. So stay with us, the only place to be. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.